Hi guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to the channel, and I've had some sleep. I actually feel great now. Another 7.5 hours, whatever it was. Last night, well, this morning technically, it's still the same day. Caramel dropped. We got the reaction up. I went to bed after the reaction dropped and went over some comments, was replying for about an hour or so. I think I actually fell asleep mid-reply to one of them, so if someone got a reply with a load of Z's and W's and X's and stuff like that at the end, I think I hit reply with my face. Apologies, I think I've fixed it now anyway, but you might have got a reply being like, what the fuck is he saying? Yeah, apologies for that. I literally fell asleep with the song playing on my earphones as well. At the time of this video, I think I've listened to it at least 15 times now, so I kind of have more of an understanding. And I don't usually do these kinds of videos, but I thought with the general reaction to what people are thinking about it, the deep, deep lines that are in this song, I thought that I would post a lyric analysis. Now, it's going to be, obviously, my interpretation. I might say something that is not, you know, it's not what the lyrics mean. It is just my opinion. It is just what I am personally feeling, what I am personally picking up from the lyrics. It is the first video, so apologies if there's anything missing or we mess up on something. I'm only human. But yeah, I thought that this was definitely worthy of a video to post about this. So what I've managed to do is get all the lyrics up. So we have the full lyrics at the side of the screen that way, back to front. And yeah, we're just going to go through them. I know how the song works now. I know the structure of it and things like that, so we should be good. But yeah, it was dark, man. It was dark. There's a good few things in this that could mean multiple. They could have multiple meanings, you know. Sleep Token don't just write songs for writing songs' sake. There could be multiple meanings in this. There could be meanings that we are taking as our own, making our own, which again is what music is all about. And like each different person will take something different away from the song and from any song that this band release. And any other band, to be fair, we all take something and think, oh, that resonates with me there, or that takes me back to a place, or that sparks a memory, or something like that. But yeah, so Caramel, we'll start. So the first line, count me out like sovereigns, payback for the good times. Right foot in the roses, left foot on a landmine. I don't know what he is trying to get at there. Like, you've got one foot in, like, lovely, nice flowers, roses usually are, but then another foot on a landmine, which is, like, destructive, will take away your leg, probably kill you, to be fair. I'm not going to be there tripping on the grapevine. They can sing the words while I cry into the bass line. Now, this one was possibly the first one that I kind of... It drew me to something, and it kind of sparked something that I've heard in the past. So, they can sing the words while I cry into the bass line. If you've ever seen Sleep Token live, or you've ever seen any kind of videos from any Sleep Token concert, usually Missing Limbs... Bloodsport 100%, you will hear Vessel cry, and it's not put on either, because he cries at different parts. Don't forget, I've got the experience of seeing this band, like I said last night in the Weatherman video, 5, possibly 6, I'm trying to remember how many times it is, but it's 5 or 6 times, and I've seen Vessel perform Bloodsport 4 of those times, because he did it at Wembley in the encore, and he cries in different parts, and you hear his voice break in different parts of the song. He's either a phenomenal actor, which I don't think for 1 minute it is, because Bloodsport is heartbreaking, and I've got a feeling I know what it's about, but it feels genuine. You know, the cries that he has, like, you hear his voice go. I've seen his head just kind of go down when he's behind the keyboard and stuff. So if you take that for what it is in literal meanings, they can sing the words, so the fans, the people at the concert, in the audience, in the gig, while I cry into the bass line. So the band on the stage, the music, you know, obviously instrumentals and things, and that's where Vessel does cry. Multiple different times in multiple different songs. Like I say, Missing Limbs and Bloodsport are just an example. I think he cried a little bit during Take Me Back to Eden at Wembley, but that's obviously because his voice was fucked. But even that, you know, losing your voice at then your biggest headline show ever would be heartbreaking. And the fact that they stayed on stage and performed, and Vessel came in and out in little bits and tried his best, and then he did give us a unbelievable rendition of Bloodsport at the very end in the encore. He forced himself through it, to be fair, and probably hurt himself more in the process, but that they can sing the words while I cry into the bass line, it resonates a lot, because you can see that for what it is. You can see the crowd, the audience, the fan base singing the words of the song. Vessel up on stage trying to sing, and he just breaks, obviously, in the bass line. Wear Me Out Like Prada, Devil in the Detail, obviously that could be multiple meanings, like the Devil Wears Prada and stuff, as in like the film, not the band, I'm guessing. It's also a well-known saying, the Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that. He's obviously played around with the words, so Wear Me Out Like Prada, the brand, clothing, Devil in the Detail. This one, I swear it's getting harder even just to exhale. Backed up into corners, bitter in the lens. I'm sick of trying to hide it every time they take mine. Lens and take. Now, I don't know if that's something to do with photographers. Now, I have personal experience of this. I was honoured, and I mean honoured, super, super honoured at Radar Festival to be in the press pit. And I've never spoken about this in detail, to be fair. When we were at Radar Festival, obviously Sleep Token, as we all know by now, they're an anonymous band. No one knows, obviously people know who they are, but that's besides the point. The people in the venues and their team and stuff clearly know who they are. As a band, as a team, as a tour team, you know, they have certain rules. So at Radar Festival, and Emily was there as well, she witnessed this, we had a brief from the head of security, and he said, photographers in the press pit, do not touch the stage, do not brace up on the stage, do not use the stage in any shape or form to leverage your shots. So, by all means, take photos from, like, the press pit. Like, Emily had a mobile phone at the time because we were just fans. I did have my DSLR, and was very, very amateur, to be fair, back then. I've come on and practiced so much. I've got new lenses and things. And I was respectful because, you know, I didn't kind of feel like I belonged there in a way. It was a lot of professional photographers, you know, with all the huge lens, the big cameras and stuff. And we'd just been invited in kind of probably as fans and things. And obviously I was, you know, I had the passes and stuff for the festival anyway. But I was respectful. I was literally on the barriers. I mean, to be fair, me and Em actually helped out some fans. There was fans saying, oh, can we get some photos? And I was like, give your phone. Give me your phone. And I was literally like, as soon as the band came on stage, stood right back at the barrier. Vessel was here. Like, I was looking at the guy. He's here. And, I mean, Em's got a phenomenal shot. And I don't know whether this shot was deliberate. I'm going to say it was because of the way Vessel was behaving on stage. And I'll go into that in a minute. Emma's got a shot of Vessel looking directly. It's on my Instagram. Directly down her phone lens camera. And at the time, her phone wasn't great. And the photo was come out. It's almost like it was meant to be. Vessel looked down. And obviously, he's going to be able to see the photographer's pit. You know, you can only see so far in an audience with the lights and stuff. But he looked down at the photographers, and Em was just there, and she just went like that. And he stopped and looked right down her lens, and she's got a phenomenal picture of. He's in like a little bit of a stance, like I say, it's on my Instagram, looking right down her lens. And then after that, he just walks off. He was quick. Some of the photographers in that press pit, I believe one of them was actually from Kerrang magazine. He got us kicked out. So again, I've gone into this in the Bloodywood video. When you are invited into a press pit and you get your press photography pass, and again, I'm still very new to this, but I do understand the rules. I wanted to make sure I didn't break anything. I didn't want to make sure, like, you know, it was my fault that something happened, because other photographers would be majorly pissed off. They're there to do a job and get paid. I was just there because when we break it down to what it is, I just have a following. And they were giving me that as a thank you for, you know, for the videos and stuff. They said, yeah, press pit, you know, go and take photos and stuff. And I was, like I say, I was truly honoured. At the Radar Festival, one of the guys was warned a few times. He had his big camera. Now, I know now about how cameras work, and I know exactly what lens he had on that camera. He did not need to be any closer to the stage than he was. He definitely didn't need to brace himself up on the stage. He definitely didn't need to put any of his body parts on that stage. And he did. And he was being really disrespectful. And the head of security said to us, And again, I don't know how true this is, but it did come from the team. It did come from the people obviously responsible for the band. Obviously, don't touch the stage. Don't brace yourself on the stage. They have been told to kick out. They will kick out if you get too close. They will get you away. Yeah, we don't want your cameras getting damaged and stuff like that. And I personally, I didn't see anything like that. Every time someone did it, Vessel just walked away. But I can understand why. You know, they are anonymous. You know, you don't know what. Someone manages to get a photo pass somehow, uses some fake credentials, fucking jumps on the stage, tries to pull a mask off. You just don't know in this day and age. There's people out there that would go to them lengths. So anyway, the lyrics for what they are. Backed up into... I swear it's getting harder even just to exhale. That's a bit like... Backed up into corners, bitten in the lens. I'm sick of trying to hide it every time they take mine. So I'm from that, I'm going lenses and camera lens, taking photos with a lens. Sick of trying to hide it every time they take mine. Obviously, these guys don't do interviews. Vessel's done multiple photo shoots. Amazing photo shoots, to be fair. The last one he did with the snake, I mean, I don't like snakes. They freak me out, but they're fucking phenomenal shots. As someone learning to be a photographer, I mean, mine's video always has been, but some of them shots are unbelievable that they've managed to capture, just the detail in the mask and everything. But backed up into corners, who is backing them up into the corners? Is this the industry saying, we need you to do this photos, we need you to do these shots? He's better in the lens because he doesn't want to do them necessarily. I know obviously there's an element of marketing, and obviously the label are going to be like, you owe us money, or you need to do this, or we've booked you a shooting. Like we've said in the videos in the past, these guys are the biggest, fastest selling alternative / metal band in the world. You can imagine how much attention and how many people want to get theirs, if you like, get their shots. But yeah, I'm taking that as photography, like backed up into corners, so being forced to potentially do something. Bitter in the fact in the lens, like he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to take the photos. I can imagine it takes hours to get ready as well, to become Vessel with all that paint and to make sure your identity is protected as much as it can be. And to be in a room with a stranger, you know, we've got to take this into consideration as well. You know, a photographer books this band or books Vessel for a photo shoot or whoever it may be, members-wise. You are one-on-one. I'm guessing he's got security. They're too big not to, but one-on-one with the photographer, not wanting to be there. I don't know. I take that as like he's being backed up into a corner, forced to do it. Bitter because he doesn't want to do it. He's pissed off. I'm sick of trying to hide it every time they take mine. So he's not letting it be known. He's not letting the photographer see that he's bothered. But he has to hide it because at the end of the day, it's part of his job. Maybe. That's what I take from it. And just quickly to finish that Radar story as well, we did get kicked out of the press pit 2.5 songs in. It's meant to be 3 songs and then you leave. I've heard loads of various reasons as to why. Apparently it's because the band haven't started to sweat on stage yet, and some bands don't like looking like they're all sweaty and stuff. They're fresh, so the photos are good. You know, they've just come on stage, they like you to do something potentially crazy, they're jumping around and stuff while they've got loads of energy and things, so you get good shots and things. But it's usually first 3 songs and then you ask to leave, and you can remain in the venue. You can, in some venues they still let you take shots from outside the press pit and stuff. Obviously it's harder. But yeah, I mean, I was taking photos of people. People were asking me for pictures of Bloodywood, and I was like, yeah, sure, pose, you know, there you go, all your mates and stuff. And I've sent them to them. I don't mind. Like, that's sick. You already practice by doing. So, yeah, we move on. So, chorus. So, stick to me like caramel. Walk beside me till you feel nothing as well. I think caramel in this song is a metaphor. Obviously, he's not singing about the lovely, juicy, gooey stuff that's in chocolate bars. We know that. Caramel is sticky, yes. Stick to me like caramel. Walk beside me till you feel nothing as well. Is that him? It's a tricky one. And again, I don't want to make assumptions that potentially aren't true, but it's just what I'm taking from the song, what I'm trying to break down. Is he saying walk beside me so basically you just feel like I do right now? Nothing. Like he's just numb inside. Let me move on, because again, it could be multiple different things. Again, caramel is being used here as a metaphor, but with certain literal terms. So the stick to me like caramel. Yes, we know it's a sticky substance, but it's not. The song isn't about caramel that we eat. He's using it as metaphors. And they ask me, is it going good in the garden? I say I'm lost, but I beg no pardon. Up on the dice, low on the cards, a gambling reference, but I don't think it is. I try not to talk about how it's harder now. Now, this I can break down and kind of interpret the fact that I've gone from being an underground small band to, like we say, the world's biggest, fastest ticket selling ever alternative metal band. It's gonna be harder. They're more famous now. They're more famous than they've ever been, and when you break it down, people, they're getting more and more famous every day. The more and more fans that come in, the more and more people that potentially have eyes on them, the more and more the chance increases that someone's going to dox them again, dickheads. But, yeah, I try not to talk about how it's harder now, so he's trying to not see it. I have a feeling that Vessel is one of them people, and I would love him to be as well, that he's not forgotten where he's come from. And that's something that should never, ever leave him if it is. I respect the guy so much if that's the way he's talking. Like, he's never forget where he's come from. And it's technically not his fault that they've skyrocketed the way they did. You know, he just did what he did and wrote a song, the band performed it, they released it with the summoning, and TikTok did the rest. You know, that was like 60-70% of the increase in the fan base right there overnight. I try not to talk about how it's harder now, which is completely understandable. It's going to be insane. You know, they are effectively the hottest name probably in music right now. If you think about the size, the draw, anyone that owns a venue, a bar, a pub, an arena, a stadium, you associate Sleep Token with that venue. It's all you're going to get. And I know the lyrics are there, so I'll do it there as well. Money. And ultimately, all of these venues and stadiums, we've seen how many pubs and bars and things are closing down right now. Ultimately, businesses need money to survive, as do everyone. You know, we need money to pay bills and things. So, they're going to be more and more. You go to any stadium and go, we book Sleep Token, they're not going to even think of the answer. It's going to be yes. But you haven't checked your diary. Don't care, it's clear. You can have it. This is the size of this band right now. So yeah, try not to talk about how it's harder now. Can I get a mirror side stage? Looking sideways at my own visage, getting worse. Every time they see, this is the line that I picked up on straight away. Can I get a mirror side stage, looking sideways at my own visage? Why is he talking about wanting a mirror side stage? And why would he want to looking sideways? I'm not too sure with what he's trying to say there. It's not so he can technically look at his own reflection. It depends in what context that's meant as well. Let me do a quick Google search of what this is. Okay, so potentially it is. So a visage, it's obviously visage, however you want to say it. The face, countenance, or appearance of a person, sometimes an animal, or an aspect appearance, the grimy visage of a mining town. A person's face with reference to the form of proportions of the features, an elegant angular visage, or a person's facial expression. There was something hidden behind his visage of cheerfulness. The moonlit visage of the port's whitelisted buildings, the manifestation, image, or aspect of something. The literal meaning of visage is a literary term for referring to someone's face or facial features. Looking sideways at my own visage, getting worse. So, I don't think it is. But, just as a little side point, looking sideways at my own visage, getting worse. There's a comma, so it's a pause. Getting worse every time. So there's a comma. So it might not even be that. It could be just looking at himself in a mirror and seeing a difference. We went out the comma thinking about the getting worse part, and again there's a comma, so there is a pause. I potentially interpret that as the mask, because the mask was full, then it cracked, then it broke and revealed a little bit, and he's upped it a little bit now. The new gold and green one, but the white as the background, it was kind of here for Take Me Back to Eden, and now it's kind of here. You can see a little bit of his nose. It's almost as if like he's not revealing himself. It's probably a tease, but he's given more and more of himself away. And that could be to sleep, to the fan base, to who knows how we interpret that. But taking that literally and leaving the comment in, so we take a pause. Getting worse every time they try to shout my real name just to get a rise from me. Now, this is definitely multi-meaning. I've read a couple of comments on the reaction already, and I know this for certain as well. There are people in the YouTube scene, in the fan base, and in the industry that have name-dropped Vessel. And it's disgusting. It's every time they try and shout my real name. It's happened at gigs. I know for a fact people have shouted all of the band members' names out at gigs. Never anyone that I've been to. I haven't been to a show where I've personally heard it. The last 2 times, Wembley and Manchester, that I've seen Sleep Token live, I've been sat just to the right. If they're on stage, just to the left of the stage. If they're looking out at the crowd, couple of rows from being able to be right on the stage. So it's harder. But if I was in standing and I heard someone shouting real names, there'd be at least a conversation had. I can't condone violence. I can't say to someone, and with the audience of my size, I can't say to people, if you hear that, chin them. Because you're going to get yourself kicked out of a show. You might get yourself banned. You could cause a scene. They might have to stop the show. Just a little tap on the shoulder. Stop that. And if it carries on, for your own safety and protection, just alert a member of security, and I'm pretty sure they'll deal with it because they will have been briefed. The security of the Sleep Token show is not only always fantastic, but they will have been briefed on the rules, the do's, the don'ts, and what the band appreciate and stuff. Plus, there's the whole tour team. They will have 100% briefed the security, or the head of security at least. But yeah, every time they try and shout my real name just to get a rise from me. And you can see why it would get a rise. You would see why that would piss them off, because again, we said it last night in the video, people. The number one rule of this band is you do not discuss identities. Why do we need to know who they are? Again, just enjoy it for what it is. If we revealed who they all were and they quit, we wouldn't be doing this right now. Music would be gone, band would be gone. They'd be like, well, we fucking warned yous. So, they don't want to be known. It's not about who they are as people. It's about the art. It's about the music. That's what all bands aspire to do, is have that effect on the fan base with their music. That's why we listen to it in the first place. They are just the people creating it. It shouldn't matter who they are. Ultimately, plucking a name out of thin air, Ed Sheeran isn't a multi-millionaire because he's called Ed Sheeran. He's a multi-millionaire because of his talent and his music. If he wasn't talented and he wasn't releasing music, Ed Sheeran is just me. It's just another person on the street. It shouldn't matter who the people themselves are. It's the art, the lyrics, the music, the gift that they give us to enjoy. That's what we should enjoy. It shouldn't matter that they're called X, Y, Z, whatever. They're called Vessel 2, 3, and 4. That's it. It's like, again, insert band here, Spirit Box. It's like if all of a sudden they wanted to wear masks and Courtney was like, you will call me X from now on. And, Mike Stringer was like, I don't want to be called by this anymore. You will call me Y. And they started wearing masks. They'd still be Spirit Box. They'd still have the trademark sound. They just don't want to be shown anymore. I know that's a wild analogy, but, just to explain it in literal terms. Vessel 2, 3, and 4. That's it. The music, the art, the lyrics is what matter. And Again, we've repeated it countless times. I'll try not to dwell on it. The number one rule of this band, people, is you do not discuss the identities of the band. It's in every fan Facebook group. It's the number one rule in the official Discord server. It was told to us as a brief in the security. You just don't discuss the identities of the band. You just don't do it. Don't post it in magazines. Don't post it in your articles and stuff. It's Vessel 2, 3, and 4 if you have to refer to them as anything. That's it. But yeah. The next line as well, acting like I'm never stressed out by the hearsay, the gossip. Now this could be the hearsay, potentially industry and fan base, because don't forget, the industry is a fucking brutal place. The music industry has never ever been a nice place to be a part of. Trust me, I have friends in bands that are like down here. I have friends in bands that are here, and I'm honoured enough to work with bands that are up here, that are the likes of the fucking size of Sleep Token. You know, Chris Motionless dropped me a message on Instagram to thank me for the fucking reaction, and then we had a chat, and I was like, what? You know, I went and seen fucking Parkway Drive and Lorna Shore, and the next thing, Sam from Architects is going, you're like this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, idols just going, all right, how's it going? Thanks for the videos. It's insane. But there's a lot of jealousy in the industry. Of course, people are not nice. And there was going to be 100% jealousy from other bands. Not all of them. And it won't be any, I'd like to think it's none of the ones I'm into, but of course there'll be jealousy. If you're Sleep Token one day and you're down here, then you release to someone and then all of a sudden you're selling out fucking Wembley Arena, there's going to be jealousy. And there's going to be people going, well, I've heard that this is Vessel, and, you know, this is who he actually is, and 2 is this person, and 4 is this person, and we were in a recording studio last week, and, you know, that Vessel guy was down there. It happens. Because they want their own little in, they want their own little up. They want to be able to say, that was me there. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily what he's trying to say here, because it was 100% aimed at the fan base as well, because the fan base gossip all the time. They can't stop themselves. And again, not all of them. Not all of them. But they can't stop themselves. It's look at Reddit. Every single day there is at least another post on the moderation team saying, please stop posting who you think these people are. Like, it's the number one rule. Stop. And then the next line, he shouldn't have to say it, but yeah, I guess that's what I get for trying to hide in the limelight. That cannot be taken any more literally for what it is. He is being propelled into stardom, into fame, the limelight, and he is trying to be an anonymous figure in a world filled with technology. Cameras are on every single phone now. Some cameras on phones are better than the cameras that I'm using to record now. The detail, the way they can video, every single person has a camera in their pocket. And that's the danger as well. As much as it's a convenience, as much as it's really great to be able to be like, oh, that's cool, let's snap a photo of it. And it could be like a random fucking thing anywhere. When it comes to this kind of stuff, and they're an anonymous band, the fact that, you know, he doesn't live in the mask. They could come off stage and be like, oh, what a show, you know, and take the mask off. They can't do that. They have to make sure they're in a secure room, in a secure environment. And I'm guessing someone must come in and be like, yeah, go on, lads, you're good. And that body paint must be hell to get off. They have to shower somewhere. I imagine they have to have someone on the door, you know, going, yeah, go on, you can shower now, lads. It's not like another band who just comes off stage and then instantly just like, oh, what a show. Which they probably are, don't get me wrong. They're probably like, fucking hell, that was incredible, the atmosphere. But they can't live normal artist lives because of who they are and what they represent with the masks. So trying to hide in the limelight is literally, like, he is a real person with a mask on, hiding in superstardom. He's going to have the paparazzi after him, fans after him, people with magazines wanting to... They don't do interviews, but you can guarantee, because you've seen what happens with the likes of the fucking Kardashians, they can't leave the house. Footballers can't leave the house. I remember I seen Steven Gerrard, who used to play for Liverpool, one of the petrol stations, and he had all of the drivers that were filling up around him. You know, like, the guy is there filling his car up, which You know, it says when you go into a petrol station, no mobile phones, no sparks and all that kind of stuff. Don't use your phone, whatever, just in case. I mean, it's fucking nothing possible for a signal to jump out of a phone and set fire to a petrol station. But it could happen. And poor Stephen Gerrard's just like this with the petrol pump, and he's like, yeah, I'll be with being a normal person, filling my car up. And he was swarmed. And I just walked past. I went in. Mate was filling his car up. I went in, paid for the fuel because I think we were going to one of the vape shows. Got some snacks and drinks for us. And as I came back out, he was just walking the other way, and I was like, "You right, Steve?" He's like, "You right?" And he said, "Hiya, mate." And we just walked past. They can't do that. They can't. They can in a way because they've worked it so well now that it's unheard of for a band of this size to be able to go, I need milk, I'll just run the shop. Vessel technically can run the shop. You know, he can at times, I'd imagine. 2, 3 and 4 could go, I fancy a chippy, or I don't know, I need a haircut. I imagine they've got barbers that come to the houses and stuff, but, I fancy some chippy or whatever. I mean, who doesn't use Just Eat nowadays? But they still have an element of privacy. Small, but an element of it. We could probably walk down the street and walk past any of them and not know. Some of us. I have to be very careful. I do have to be very careful in what I say. If I walked past any of them, wouldn't even acknowledge. Because I should know better. Maybe in a group situation, in a massive festival or something like that, it could be a little bit of a... But that'd be it. It'd be kind of a Batman and Michael Caine end of the film, where he sat reading the paper and he looks up and he sat across them and he just goes, and they go, and that's it. Maybe something like that. But again, very, very, very careful. I would respect every single rule that is being put in place. So we move on. Guess that's what I have for having 2020 hindsight. Now, that's a hell of a line. I love that. Very, very clever. We know Vessel's an amazing lyricist anyway. 2020 vision is really good vision. 2020 hindsight. If any of you don't know what hindsight is, to describe it the best, having hindsight in many things, really, to be fair. Say you meet someone and you see little bits in them, and then it turns out to just be toxic and stuff. And you're like, yeah, I've seen them signs and probably shouldn't have carried on doing that. And it eventually ends and stuff, and you're like, oh, well, when you look back now, I've never have done that. I should never have got with that person, or I should never have done that thing, or never been to that place. That's hindsight. Hindsight is... You've already been there, done that, and then when you think back, you're like, probably really shouldn't have done that. Probably just should have got out before that even happened. That's hindsight. But having 2020 hindsight, yeah, acting like I'm never stressed out by the hearsay, I guess that's what I get for trying to hide in the limelight. I guess that's what I get for having 2020 hindsight. Has he told someone or met someone in the industry? I'm guessing this one's not fan base, because they don't do that, but... Have they met someone in the industry? Have they met someone or revealed themselves to someone, and that person has then gone and basically gossiped, hearsay, it's all tying in, and now he's basically saying, probably shouldn't have done that. Looking back now, probably shouldn't have told them who we were, probably shouldn't have revealed who we were or who we are to them people. The next line is fans. Everybody wants eyes on him. I just want to hear you sing that top line. So what he's saying there is he just wants to see you enjoy the music. He just wants to hear you sing that top line. Now, is that the top line of this verse? The start of this verse? Every time they try to shout my real name just to get a rise from me, everybody wants eyes on him. I just want to hear you sing that top line. Probably not. I think with what he's saying there is he just wants the fans to enjoy the music, and that's it. Like we said last night, people, support the band. By all means, support them. Buy all the merch. I fucking spend hundreds on Sleep Token merch. This hoodie was £80. Support them, buy the music, attend the shows, stream the shit out of the music, be a fan. But there's a line you have to stop and abide by. But yeah, we move on, because I'm already aware that there's going to be a long video. And if you don't think I mean it, then I understand. But I'm still glad you came, so let me see those hands. That's at the fans. That's at the fans. And if you don't think I mean it, then I understand. You shouldn't have to, though. People should know and appreciate what he's trying to say. But at the end of the day, I'm still glad you came. So he's still glad that you bought tickets, and he's still glad that you went to see the show. So let me see those hands. After everything that people have done to this band, to doxing them, to, like he's saying, the gossip, the hearsay, the trying to work out who they are, having the hindsight. He just wants to hear you sing the songs, and he's still glad you bought tickets and showed up at the show. So let me see those hands. He's basically saying, fuck everything, okay, you know, I understand. You shouldn't have to. Let's put it all to one side. We're here now. We're here to worship on the shows. So let me see those hands, you know, get the signs going, you know, like all the kind of singing along, all the hearts and everything that he does at the end of the show and stuff. I have grown up with this, well, not grown up, but I've grown with this band since the very, very beginning. What they do at the end of a show now, they never ever used to do. The first time I saw this band, I actually thought, before I understood, because I was a very, very naive and amateur fan back then, I was like, the fuck? Like, at least say, thanks for coming. And then my mate was like, you do realise they're anonymous and don't talk. And I was like, but he just sang. He went, yeah, but that's different. If they talk, you know what they sound like. You can work out who they are. And I was like, ah. End of the show, they just literally went, finished the song, the lights went off, and he walked off. And I was like, is it like the encore or something now? And my mate was like, no. And Em was there as well. She was like, so what happens now? And then the main lights and the thing come up, and he was like, that's it, show's finished. They don't say thank you. They don't talk. I know 3, I fucking love him. I know he started just shouting abuse lately. Well, when I say abuse, he's like, fucking get your hands up, come on. Like, I love that guy. He's so fun. But even the interaction from the rest of the members, like even for on Rain Down on Me, when he does the whole, like, he's like that, and then he'll do the big clap and come down. They never used to do that. They used to just literally play their instruments, look out into the crowd a bit. Vessel would interact in terms of, like, his very, like, you know, his fucking jumping around and his hand movements and stuff. Watch live shows now. At the end of the show, Vessel will come and take a bow, and he bows to everyone, and he does the hearts, and he blows kisses and stuff like that. That never used to happen. Ever. So they've given you more, and a little bit more, than we really deserve, but at the same time appreciate it, because that's their way of saying, thanks for coming, thanks for listening, you know, thanks for spending your money, thanks for travelling. They all know that the tickets aren't cheap. They all know that there'll be people in an arena that have spent $500 or £500 or whatever. You know, I travelled down to Wembley, stayed in a hotel. That whole weekend cost me probably £500 plus the tickets. So, plus the merch. I mean, this coin was £50. For those of you who have never seen it, there's the Wembley coin. I was never not buying this. Limited edition. The coins now aren't even as nice as this. That's a solid metal coin, with the Sleep Token logo on it and the Wembley logo on the back, the Wembley Arena. You know, that was £50. Plus the t-shirts, plus your food, your drink, your hotel, everything else. But yeah, they give us a lot more. And that's him basically being there saying, I'm still glad that you're here. I'm still glad you come to see us. So let me see those hands. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the show. Thanks for coming. And then we get the chorus again. But then he says, fallen free of the final parallel. The sweetest dreams are bitter, but there's no one left to tell. That's sad. That is sad. Is that him basically saying that there's no one left to tell because he's done with it, or everyone knows now, or he's in a position where he doesn't trust anyone to tell them now? Because the next section down, too young to get bitter over it all, too old to retaliate like before, too blessed to be caught ungrateful, I know, so I'll keep dancing along to the rhythm. He is only young. Again, not revealing ages, but in the grand scheme of things, he is. But still too old to retaliate like before. But he's too blessed to be caught ungrateful. He understands where he is. He appreciates the position he's in. He's not one of these celebrities or these top artists that just get too big for themselves. He understands where he come from, and he knows that he is in a very, very blessed position. So he's not going to be stupid enough to be caught being ungrateful. He knows. So he'll keep dancing along to the rhythm. The next one's The Stage is a Prison, a Beautiful Nightmare. I hope he's not saying he feels trapped on stage. He's caught and locked in. Like he can't escape. A beautiful nightmare. Is that him saying it's beautiful to look out and see all the fans, but the nightmare side of them is the fucking shouting their identities up at them and things? Too young to get bitter over it all again. A war of attrition. I'll take what I'm given. Too old to retaliate like before. Is that him basically saying, I'll just take it, I'm not going to react to it? You shouldn't have to take it. Shouldn't have to retaliate. The deepest incisions, is that him saying it cuts deep? Metaphorically, again, he's not literally cutting himself, but what's happening is cutting deep. It's causing physical pain, internal, mental pain as well. This, though, as well, I thought I got better. Maybe I didn't. And again, he's in the brackets, the backing vocals, I think these are being used to repeat it. They're not being used as kind of just backing vocals. They could be. They're not being used as just backing vocals for the song. They're used as he's saying it over and over again in the song. He's repeating it. He's like he's talking to himself. The stage is a prison, a beautiful nightmare, but I'm too young to get bitter over it at the minute. A war of attrition. You know, people are fucking being dicks and leaving and everything like that. If I react, they'll all leave. Attrition. I'll take what I'm given. Too old to retaliate like before, but not in literal terms. He's just learned to become a better person, but it's cutting him deep. It's affecting him. It's hurting him. It's causing him mental, physical pain. I thought I got better. Again, too blessed to be caught being ungrateful. I'm not going to come out and say that I'm not well, but maybe I didn't. In the background of everything, and then we go on. In these days of days, tell me, did I give you what you came for? Again, is that fans? Did I give you what you came for? Did he perform? Did he give you what you bought a ticket to see? Did it fulfill you enough? But then flip it right around, and this is heartbreaking. I wish it all away. Terrified to answer my own front door. They open the front door. If fans are finding out where he lives, which there was the doxing thing, and going to his house, you are fucking disgusting. Paparazzi wait outside people's houses. They don't care. Paparazzi only want that shot. And if they get it, they leave. But they'll stalk out. I know people that have camped out as paparazzis. I mean, we've only got to look at, you look at high-profile deaths like Princess Diana and things like that. The paparazzi are fucking scum. They're horrible. I would not hesitate if I was in that position and someone was waiting outside my house where my fiance lives and I live. They'd be getting told to fuck right off. I'd probably pose for a couple of photos occasionally because you've got to give them what they want, and you do have to remain in the limelight for your own promotion side of things. I know Sleep Token's totally different and they don't do that. Vestal does not live at home in his mask, people. I know people think he does. He doesn't. He doesn't walk around dressed as Vestal all the time. He's a real person. So being terrified to open the front door is literal terms of if the man himself and any of the band members open their front door and there's a paparazzi standing there with a professional camera and goes and runs away. The next day, the real Vestal. This is who he is, the real Vestal. Can you imagine being terrified to open the door and it could just be a postman, it could be a friend, it could be a band member, it could be anyone from management. Not that they would, you know what I mean? It could be anyone, it could be a friend, it could be his own fucking mum or his dad, his family coming down to visit, coming down for dinner. He's terrified to open his own front door because there's that many people that want a piece of him. They just want to get in there and he can't help themselves. Leave them the fuck alone. The only time you're entitled to anything is at that stage show when you've paid your ticket and you watch them, and that ticket money gives you the entitlements to stand in that audience or sit and watch them. but you watch them and you leave. And where do you go? Home, to your own private house, to your own private lives, the same way they do. They're still real people at the end of the day. Being terrified to open his own front door is fucking heartbreaking, man. Like, that hits so much. Again, I thought things had changed, missing my own wings in a realm of angels. Like, what the fuck, man? That's deep. Like, in a realm of angels, but he hasn't got wings. Like, what's he trying to say there? Angels all have wings, and he's in a realm of angels, missing his own. Everything's the same, so I'll keep dancing along to the rhythm. It's just like, I'll just keep making me music. I'll lose myself in my music. And then we get a repeat of The Stages of Prison, Beautiful Nightmare, War of Attrition, I'll take what I'm given. The Deepest Incisions, I thought I got better, but maybe I didn't. Man, it's deep. It's deep. It really is, and it's upsetting. Like, I'm holding it back now because it's upsetting. Like, the man's crying out. He's basically saying, you know, stop. Stop, enough's enough. I know I'm famous. I know I've got this fame from just overnight, but stop. There's a line. Stop trying to take every piece of me that you've got. Like, there's only so much I can give. There's only so much you're entitled to. The man's fucking terrified to open his own front door in case there's a crazy fucking fan there. Like, do you think that they're gonna speak to you? Do you really think if you knock on any of their doors and they come to the door, I'm guessing you've got security and security devices and things, but do you really think they're going to come to the door and someone's going to go, you're Vessel, aren't you? And he's going to go, yeah, do you want a photo? Do you want to come inside? Do you want a cup of tea? Fuck off, man, you deluded little bastards. Like, that's beyond wrong. It's so wrong. I know full well right now, I'm not too far, I'm like 45 minutes away from Southport. I know full well, I'm a Liverpool fan. I knew exactly where Jurgen Klopp lived, the manager. I love Liverpool Football Club. I was born a Liverpool fan, and I live for the football. I love watching the match. I wouldn't dream of going and knocking on Jurgen Klopp's fucking house and being like, you know, Jurgen, fancy a chat about the match last night? Thought you could have done something a little bit different here. Thought you could have brought such and such a player on and took such and such a player off. No. Like, that's overstepping the mark so damn much. And it's exactly the same here. I pay my money to go and watch the football, to watch the team play, and you watch the team play, you get your 90-odd minutes of entertainment, and you enjoy the football, hopefully they win. You leave, you go to the pub with your mates, your dad or something like that, you talk about the match, you go home. The team do exactly the same thing. You go your separate ways until you come together again, and there's a mutual exchange of the football team play, you pay your money to be there, and you part ways. It's exactly the same with this. You go and see the band live, you exchange the money, in exchange for the money, you get to see the band live, you buy some merch, you have some drinks with your friends, and you part ways. You go to the pub afterwards, maybe, talk about how good the gig was, and you go home. Leave these guys alone. They do not want to be known. They don't want you to know who they are. They speak through their music, through their art. And we're fucking lucky that we get them. I said it last night. You know, there's bands that my dad was into that some members of them have died now. Just to think how lucky you are to be alive at the time that this band are present. We are truly privileged to be around and to have the chance to listen to the music that this band release whilst we are here now. Because in 20, 30, 40 years' time, when they've stopped, all we'll have is the recordings, all we'll have is whatever the next Spotify is, if it's not still Spotify. We won't have the live stuff anymore. We won't have new music. All we'll have is memories. And if you little bastards keep on going, those memories are going to become a reality very, very quickly. Because I can see these people going, we've made enough money now. It's not worth it anymore. Maybe if we stop making music, if we disappear from the limelight, maybe we'll get left alone. They don't want to be known. They want to be little, whatever the word is for them. They want to be just kind of left alone to their own devices, probably to play their games. We've seen all the Switch on stage and stuff. The little geeks like me, the little gamers, nerds, they just want to be left alone. Only I go and play zombies and go to bed. These go and play zombies and then drop a fucking world internet breaking record. Enjoy them for what they are. appreciate the music, support them with album sales, streams, buy their merch, go and see them at shows. It stops there. For the love of God, people, we are gonna lose one of the best things that's ever happened to music if you little fuckers can't just let it lie. They don't want to be known. So just enjoy the music, and like Vessel said, dance along to the rhythm. It's all you can do. Anything else, you're a disgrace and do not belong to this fan base. And I hope I don't ever catch anyone at a live show or something shouting identities. Whether they're right or wrong, you do not do it. Fucking man's terrified to answer his own front door. That's just, that hits me deep. That does. You know, that's, in a way, how can I make that as an example that I could give? That, there you go. That is like a subscriber knocking at my front door. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be nasty. I'd want to find out how the fuck they got the address. But it wouldn't be all that, oh, thanks very much for watching. I'd be like, how the fuck do you know where I live? My family live here. I don't know who you are. Like, I'd be like, please don't come back again. Like, I'm too nice for my own good. I probably still would get a picture, but it sends the wrong message. But it's the same thing. Because you do it for one, you have to do it for them all. And I am nowhere near the level of fame of these guys. And I hate the word fame. I do. A lot of subscribers say you're famous to us. You're on our TV screens. And it makes me go, because it's not fame. I'm just a dickhead that talks online. That just so happens to have a following. I'm not famous. Don't claim to be. At shows, at gigs, out in the public, I fucking love it when people come over and say hi. I really do. It means more to me than it probably does to you, because I'm like, holy shit, someone wants a photo with an absolute psychotic nutcase. Because some of the stuff I say, I'm like, who enjoys this? Why do you want to watch this? But you give a little bit of yourself. You have to. You can't not. I would fully understand if I was at a gig and someone said, can I have a photo? And I was like, fuck off. Who are you? Like, no. Unsubscribe, I'm telling you now. If you come over and ask for a photo or just ask the chat and I go, no, fuck off. I do not deserve your subscription. I do not deserve your views and your time that you've taken to sit and watch my content. I will never, ever say no to someone like that. But there's a difference being at a show, mutual fans, you know, being accessible. I put myself out there. I expect to, you know, have one or two people. It's always a lot more, which blows my mind. But I always have at shows going, someone could come over and say hi, which is the best feeling in the world. It really is. But there's a difference from being at a show to watch a band or being at a festival to watch multiple bands when I am ultimately accessible. I would never turn anyone away, to being sat in watching the football on a Sunday and someone knocks on the door and goes, can I get a photo? You're MTN React. I'd be like, holy shit, someone's found out where I live. I need to move. Someone's going to kill me. Same thing. On a bigger scale, same thing. I would never, ever turn any of you guys away. And I promise you right now, mark my words on this video, this is me saying, I swear it to you all, I will never, ever say no to a chat, a quick photo, a beer with someone at a show, at a festival, even if I'm out in public. Fucking hell, I've had someone come over to you and I've been eating a Subway and gone, do you make metal reactions? And I'm kind of like, I've got a mouthful of meatballs. Yes. And they're like, love what you do. I'll get a picture in a minute when you've wiped your mouth. I'm like, okay, nice one. I finished my Subway, cleared the sauce away, gone over to me like, nice one, right, let's get a selfie. Never ever turn your fans away. Never ever forget where you come from. Because that one person that asks for that photo could be your first ever subscriber. Sleep Token, I completely get. It's totally different in terms of they're anonymous, they don't do pictures. But the whole example of going to someone's house is exactly the same. You don't do it. It's private. That's their own life. You know, I don't sit and live on camera. I record this video, I edit it, I upload it. I go and play games. I go and CM. I go and ride my motorbike. I'm not accessible all the time like that. But I would never ever turn any of you guys away. I love you all so much. But there we go. That was just my interpretation. It was a very long video, people. I apologise. But that's what I take from Caramel. Let me know what your thoughts are. I have to do a deep dive on that. Phenomenal record. I'm going to go and listen to it again now I edit this up. But yeah, thank you for watching. Appreciate the long one. And I will see you all on the next video. Take care. Bye for now.